In studio now is Lumkile Mondi, who's a senior economic lecturer at Wits University, to discuss more about the Greek debt crisis and look at other countries facing a similar situation. Lumkile, good to have you with us today.
It's my pleasure. Good morning.
I had put it to Byron that maybe we weren't too surprised by the default from this particular nation when it comes to their payment to the IMF, but it's a difficult situation because we've seen this happening on an ongoing basis with Greece over the last 4 years.
Well, in fact, for us who live in the developing world, it's not new at all. We've seen it in Asia, we've seen it in Latin America, we've seen in Africa that the policies that are being recommended, particularly by the IMF, aren't policies that are innovative enough to get developing economies going, which Greece, in fact, was not at the same or continues not to be the same level as the rest of European economies. And if you look at the PIGS countries, they're far backward comparative terms to the German, the French economies. So therefore, those economies that came late into the Maastricht agreement towards the formation of the European Union had lots of deficiencies with which the development fund within the EU had sought to bring them back to the same level. And with Greece, it's basically has not worked very, very well. And we're not surprised because ideology where countries lose their capabilities of monetary policy leads to that. If you look at the UK, you look at America, you look at Japan, they trade on their own currencies, they raise funding on their own currencies. So they've got power of monetary policy, and therefore we're not surprised.
Do you not think it's also a factor not just of power, but of accountability? I mean, the Greek governments had, overspended and promised their people far too much over, the last couple of decades because they probably knew they were backstopped the whole time by the EU. So there wasn't accountability there. They weren't incentivized to be more responsible, with their fiscal system.
Well, in fact, that's really what the problem is that, if you look at the Greek economy under Papandreou, it's been run under Papandreou for many, many years, who pursued very Keynesian economic policies. And Greek flourished. The Greek economy did very, very well, up until the ideologues of monetarism brought in the ideas that when you amalgamate economies, you'll be able to have scale. And clearly, with the collapse in 2008, it indicates that where you've got different cultures, different identities, you cannot piggyback and create an American economy. What distinguishes America from these amalgamations is the fact that it's a federal government, it's one flag. It's an American flag, stars and stripes. The same ideology, the same agenda. In Europe, you've got different nationalities, and that is a big, big difference. And it's going to continue to harm them because when things are tough, such as in Greece at the moment, nationalism crops up, and people identify themselves that, while in this thing, when Greek people are suffering, and then our neighbors are doing very, very well. So it's a fallacy that having a union, you could be able to overcome underdevelopment, when in fact, all these countries, America, Japan, now China, is developing because it's a Chinese economy, it's got identity, and it pursues a Chinese agenda.
Having said that, though, Mondi, wouldn't the worst-case scenario be for them to actually exit the Eurozone then? Because then, as you say, moving back to their particular currency. So
it's too late.
Your outlook then on the referendum and the vote on Sunday?
Well, it's neither here nor there. The reality is that IMF is going to come to the table. We've seen it in Africa, we've seen it in Latin America and Asia. They come to the table. Remember, as a creditor, as a lender, it's in no interest to get your money back. There's no lender who will say, these guys have defaulted, therefore I'm walking away. IMF is going to come back. I think the Greeks must continue playing hardball. You play hardball. We saw it under the German reparation in the 30s when Brazil had so much debt to Germany. And later when the German economy collapsed and Marshall Plan came to the fore, that it was all British and American money that led to Germany finding its feet. So similarly, the Europeans must pay up and get the Greece going.
But surely, Greece is a once-off situation because we've seen how Portugal and Ireland, and through the support of the EU and the backstop and the ability to get cheap funding, have been able to turn the economies around. And
it hasn't. I disagree.
But they are turning around.
They are not turning around. This is 2008. And this is 2015. We were told by monetarists, by these market dogmas, that by governments bailing out this financial institution, by austerity, you'll be able to get this economy going. Show me one economy that's recovered. It's only one economy. That's American economy, because
the Irish economy has recovered.
It's
and
recovered,
not through austerity, because they've privatized and they've given tax breaks and they've allowed more business to come in. Yes, it has. It has recovered.
No,
it's a fact.
It's not a fact. It isn't a fact. The Irish economy collapsed and had to be rescued by the state. I have friends.
Yes, and they got rescued because they were part of the EU.
Let me finish my point. The reason why the Irish economy is stabilized, it hasn't recovered fully. They're not at full employment.
Neither is the US economy.
They're not at full employment. The American economy has improved the employment. Employment has gone down from about 8%. It's closer now to the natural unemployment rate of inflation, the NIRO. Of unemployment, sorry. So it's at a stage whereby it's able to create jobs. Where I differ with you fundamentally, because I think you're caught up in economics of monetarism, an economy that favors financial markets at the expense of the public sector, is the fact that the government's public money had to be used to get the Irish economy going. It's not where it was before as one of the economies that was being seen as a model. It is still trying to rise. So the evidence at the moment they're talking about is still very short term for us to say that, you know what, there's now recovery, there is stability, we can see growth.
But to counter your argument, the way the US have recovered, if you look at the jobs numbers, they've been cutting state jobs, pulling back on state spending and letting the private sector grow the economy. That's what they've been doing.
No.
Gentlemen, unfortunately, I'm going to have to pause it here, and hopefully this conversation will continue again offline. But we do have, exactly, we'll take it offline for a moment. But thank you so much for this vibrant discussion. Well, a big thank you to Wits senior economist Lumkile Mondi.